What is up, guys? Welcome to a brand new video. So today I wanted to check out a build that's becoming popular on a ton of champions right now, especially in the jungle, and it is really good. This is basically an AD carry's worst nightmare, but the whole idea is that you can carry with this early and still be relevant later into the game. Problem is, normally, right, full tank means you can engage, but you aren't really a carry, so you're relying on your team. Nobody really wants to do that. Full damage, though, means you can carry, but it's so risky. If it gets late enough and your damage falls off, then you're kind of screwed, but basically this build is going to fix both of those. We're basically going halfway with this build, like damage to carry early, tank to teamfight later, and be hard to deal with while also being a threat. Now, people have done this for a little bit on Rex side, but now it's like spreading to so many other champions, and that is why I've called it new in the title. Like, it's way stronger than people realize, and it's new for a lot of champions. For most I've looked at right now, like using this build is about a 5% increase in win rate at least, which is pretty bonkers. So this build basically looks like this after 3 items. Your jungle enchant, whether it's Warrior, Cinderhulk, Blood Razor, we'll get into like which one you want to take later, then Titanic Hydra and Deadman's Plate. Titanic and Deadman's is a brutal combo. Like, both are kind of hybrid tank and damage items, right? Which makes you hard to kill, but you do a lot of damage, but it is really underrated. The thing is, these scale into the game. Like, their damage is really good later as well as early. Titanic is 35 AD, right? Only 5 less than a BF sword, by the way. 450 health. Passive autos now deal 1% max health damage, 2.5% behind the first target, but the active is 40 plus 10% maximum health, plus it's a reset. That basically means you're going to auto attack normally, right? Your normal AD plus the 1% max health, and then the active straight after for the normal AD plus 10% max in the space of about a second. Deadman's as well is 500 health, 50 armor. The passive though, 60 move speed, so you're harder to kite in the first place, and then your auto attack slows and does 100 bonus damage and max stacks. There are a lot of different ways you can do this as a jungler, honestly. Some will rush their enchant, others who don't use it that much will rush the Titanic, some go like somewhere in the middle. I found a lot of people though go the Tiamat part into jungle enchant, then finish Titanic that way. Like, Tiamat gives 20 AD, gives you kind of like the AoE, which is a much better clear as a passive, and your active does 100% bonus AD to units around you, which is really good in a gank. So you can farm faster with this, right? You'll be healthier, you have more time to gank, more damage, and you stay relevant the entire game afterwards. In my opinion, that's pretty decent. It is also like the anti-carry build as well, so while AD carries are powering up, you can kill them, and once they have got items, you're tanky enough to kind of absorb it, help your team out, and still bend them over, actually. Anyway, let's look at some specific examples of champions that use this, and a lot of them are ones that aren't actually as popular right now. I've stalked a ton of players to find these, so they should be pretty solid. Lee Sin is the first one for this, though. This kind of became popular when Rush was doing it over in Korea. I might actually go into like a proper video on this most likely, because there are loads of different builds for Lee at the moment. This one though would look like a Tiamat Rush, then Titanic, Cinderhulk, Deadman's, more, and then whatever you want to finish it off with. Guardian Angel, Thornmail, Randuin's, Banshees as well, I guess. Lee Sin has really high base damage, right? Titanic is more than enough to do work mid-game. The Tiamat part of it like lets him use early power as well. Rushing Cinderhulk kind of defeats the point of playing an early game champion like Lee Sin, who can gank a lot, right? But Tiamat lets you still do that. Why you'd get a Cinderhulk though over like a Warrior for more aggression or something like that? Remember, the 15% increase in bonus health is there, so Titanic and Deadman's are going to give you more. So very high early damage still, continues with base damage, and Titanic, Cinderhulk, and Deadman's make you hard to kill and still provide a bit of threat. This revolves around more like staying relevant late game, I guess. Like, absorb damage, can kill the enemy AD if you catch them, but in second engages are going to be more important here. The game plan really is to do damage early, kill stuff, get your team ahead like normal, and then tank for them, engage, and provide a bit of damage later. The good thing about this build is it's very hard to play against as a mid laner or AD carry. Like, you can kill them, but it's difficult for them to kill you. It makes him much less risky as a champion. The bad thing is you are only a hybrid tanky. You're more consistent, but no real like one-shot carry that way, which we're used to seeing. You can't really stand up to a 6-item AD carry and tank that, although that is kind of where the engage comes in and you let your team do it. So next up is Volibear. This guy has kind of fallen out of favor a lot recently, but this build makes him viable in 6.17 right now. Stupid amount of damage and very tanky. You actually probably use this build better than most because he gets even more damage from health with his bite and stuff as well. Build wise, it's Cinderhulk, Rush, Boots, Titanic, Deadman's, Visage, and probably a Thornmail to round it out. Cinderhulk gives him damage anyway, that's why we're going to get it first. Plus he isn't as mobile as Lee, so we can't really avoid damage, he kind of just has to take it. Titanic after this gives him a lot of damage, and it's early enough that the enemy team can't really abuse the fact you aren't that tanky yet. Like, you have a lot of health but no resist, but you do still have your passive to save you. The game plan, again, gank early, right? Just do the normal Volibear stuff, abuse the damage from Cinderhulk and Titanic. You're more of a threat than people are going to realize. The good thing is you're actually going to continue to output damage throughout the game if you build this, so Titanic scales with their maximum health, so the more health they have, the more damage you do, and your damage scales with your health. The good thing is it plays very similar to a normal Volibear style, just more of a carry orientated build. Still extremely tanky, good engage, and very good late game with this as well. The bad thing is if the enemy AD especially, or maybe the mid laner as well, gets fed, then you won't be tanky as early. Like Titanic is also more expensive than usual build path, but not by a ton. So next up is Nocturne. I love this champion. Normally I play him full AD though, but I bet you didn't expect that this could actually work on him. He has a very good win rate with it. His base damage is pretty high, and combined with this build, like it still gives him the potential to dive and kill people, but you just won't blow up instantly. So the build is Temu early, then into either Titanic or Cinderhulk. Like I prefer Titanic personally, but that is kind of up to you. Bloodraiser would probably also work for even more damage late game, or Warrior for early to mid game damage. After that, you want to be getting your Deadmans though. The choice for the two last slots are kind of between Black Cleaver, Randuin's Visage, Moore, Guardian Angel, or Warmox. For the jungle enchant, I really like Cinderhulk honestly, and then grabbing either like a Black Cleaver or Moore as another offensive option later, because you will just scale better into late game. The game plan really is to gank a lot early. This is actually going to become a bit of a trend, I think. You'll still be able to almost one-shot people with your combo with a Temu, so you can abuse that phase well. Mid to late game, same idea, but it's more for like engage rather than the one-shot, I guess. Honestly, you'll probably still kill the enemy AD, but you might need a bit more help now. At the very least, you're going to do a lot of damage. You will last a long time in a team fight, so overall, like in the team fight, your team should win. The good thing is you are more reliable, more consistent than the full damage version. Like with your Fear and Ultimate, you are hard to deal with. Mid-game and like team fights are much better in my opinion. You don't have to rely on picks. You can actually just group up and fight. The bad thing is you don't really abuse his AD ratios as well. Like they are really high. That's why like Ghostblade and Dustblade work so well and can one-shot people. Now Shaco is the next one. Shaco, if you're American, I guess. Like he's getting a lot more popular and better this patch, I think, at least at high-low, but he is seriously so irritating with this build. I hate it. Something just isn't right where he can one-shot you still, but is tanky as well. Like normally he's low health, so if you dodge his burst and you can burst him, not really the same deal with this. So the build is Temu into Warrior this time. Shaco is a carry champion. He's not a tank. This is a carry build, still just more versatile and more annoying, I guess. Temu is more damage when you jump in as well. It helps a lot with ganks and farming the jungle. Titanic after your Warrior, like your auto reset now adds even more damage to your combo. Afterwards, it's back to more normal stuff. So like Shiv, Infinity Edge, Dustblade, Guardian Angel, Phantom Dance. So you can kind of pick what you need, though personally, I've actually been liking Dustblade more for him. It's just a really nasty quick kill combo. Your game plan is basically the same as normal. You gank a lot, you out pressure the enemy jungler and snowball lanes. You just do what Shaco does. Really, you don't have to adjust your playstyle to play this build. I just think it's more versatile and probably a bit better for solo queue. The good thing is you have faster farming, healthier, more time to gank. It's also not as risky, right? More tanky means slightly better in team fights and in general just harder to deal with, I think. Like even worse for an AD carry. The bad thing is you won't have quite as much AD. So most actually get Ravenous Hydra anyway. That is going to be more AD, more life steal, and damage like scales with AD, not their max health. Basically, you're doing more to low health targets. Now, Shyvana is one where I think this might actually be the normal build for her. I'm not too sure. At least like recently anyway, this is definitely the best. The auto reset with her kit is arguably even better, and she has so much percentage damage in there now as well. It's kind of ridiculous. Build-wise, you can get Temu at first. A lot will go straight Bloodraiser though, actually. Just more attack speed, even more percentage damage added onto her kit. So Bloodraiser and Titanic are the first two, then Deadmans for even more damage, round out with like a Visage and Thornmail most likely. This is seriously disgusting past like 3 items really, and in my opinion it makes her a lot more viable. So game plan, I guess, different to the others actually. Like you farm early and you gank if you can, but there's no real pressure, right? You are a power farm. You're so good at it. Mid to late game you can dive in. You'll be super tanky, but probably like 3-shot the enemy AD if you play it right with your auto resets and your Q. The good thing is damage is absolutely insane with this, and you're tanky as well. Like it makes her very hard to deal with mid to late game, and it's an AD carry's general like worst nightmare. They can't kill you, but you can kill them. The bad thing is you're squishy early when building Titanic and having like a Bloodraiser. Also the kind of the same problems with Shyvana in general, right? You get kited around all the time, though I guess Deadman helps a little bit. Now there are a few more I just want to mention very quickly though. So Rek'Sai, she kind of started this whole thing off really. Temu into Cinderhulk, Deadman's Visage, Thornmail, or Guardian Angel. You have way more early damage, but a super tank later, which keeps her relevant. And this is kind of where like I guess everyone saw this build and were like, okay, let's try it on someone else. Jarvan is another one. Full damage at the moment is risky, just like Lee Sin. You have to dive in, and the jungle is kind of low income, like low gold. If you don't get fed, you're probably not going to one-shot and you'll just die instead. This build actually solves that, and it's why I love it. Like you would do it more like a Nocturne really though. Temu into Titanic, then Cinderhulk, Deadmans, and either get a bit more damage if ahead or just full tank after that. There are probably loads of champions that can use this honestly, but the last one I want to talk about is Vi. So in my opinion, she's better as a full damage source with Warrior and Triforce, but that is risky. If you want to be more of a team player, more consistent though, then this is basically in the middle. So Temu into Cinderhulk, Titanic, Deadmans. Auto reset from the Titanic works with your kit hit more too, so that's like an added benefit. You'll be much better in a team fight here, like way better. You'll still be a threat, but no more like one-shotting people, I guess, though you don't get one shot either. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching, and as always, let's go to the robots.